You like baseball more than football?
Growing up, I played a lot of baseball. I would say now I follow football. I mean, I've done a bunch of stuff on NFL Network, and I love talking about it. I love watching it. It is the easiest to be able to see everything, and obviously not everything, but in baseball it's impossible. Right? You're not watching 16 games every day of the week, but the way football spreads it out, you got one game here. Yeah, I mean, I'm watching a lot of it, but I love it and love talking about it.
Who's your team?
Packers.
You guys are the most spoiled quarterback franchise of all time, huh?
Well, it's been a good run.
It's been
for
nice.
Sure. It's been a good run.
Other franchises are just scrounging around trying to find their guy, and you guys just happen to fall into one every 15 years.
It's crazy, right? I mean, they legitimately should have won 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
They legitimately should have won.
58 minutes.
Yeah. They legitimately should have won. And it was I think for the first time in a long time, it was also like, you know what? They did good. Like there was no disappointment. I mean, obviously in the moment.
Because it was rough in the first half of the year, and then they really put on.
I mean, starting Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like they just started looking great. Defense started playing a little bit better. But it was fun.
It's the whole thing, like expectation and the result. Like the expectation, Jordan Love, you don't know what you have yet, ups and downs of the season, and then they make it as far as they did, playing the team that's in the Super Bowl now, being like, hey, that was awesome. A lot to look forward to. Kind of like the Lions. Like obviously a very big disappointment losing the NFC Championship, but you in Detroit, if you're a Detroit fan, you're like, bro, we are going to be good. You have this now feeling in your head like maybe we're the next dynasty.
Right.
And then you, and being a fan of the Packers, you're like, dude, we get to go through another opportunity to be contenders every single year for the next however many years until we find the next quarterback.
Yeah. I will say this though, and I haven't talked about this so much. I think it's very easy to be like, it's the same. It's like Favre and it's Rodgers and it's, now Love. But I think the other part that is surprising and it kind of feel good. I don't know why. That's such a lame way to say it, but I think with Favre, they knew what they had. I think with Rodgers, they knew what they had. And I think legitimately, if they say inside that building now that they made this decision to bring in Love because they knew he was ready, that's a lie. I don't think it was the same this time. Now, I think they can look back and Gutekunst can say like, well, I drafted him, I knew what he had or whatever. But for me, that's a little disingenuous because I think they were very publicly unclear about what they had, but he started playing great. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Because you're saying like they knew and they were ready for Rodgers to take over. It's just if Favre would decide to come back or there'd be drama, and you're kind of just like waiting on things to play out. But they were very excited about Aaron Rodgers, whereas with the whole Aaron leaving and Jordan being there, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like Aaron can, he can do it as long as he can. This will be really good for Jordan, who actually knows what we have. But you got to be ready for, as Aaron left.
I mean, the other thing is, people talking about the Packers and maybe some people, jaded people saying like they're lucky or whatever. Guys, like sitting a guy that you drafted for a couple of years maybe is not a bad fucking idea. Like why they're throwing, no disrespect to anybody, but if you're drafting high, you're shitty to start with. And so you draft a guy, you bring him in, you're shitty as a team, you can't protect him, you don't have playmakers around him. Now he's getting his balls beat in and his confidence shook. And then you're surprised with 3 years later that we still don't know about him, or he hasn't performed, or, he moves to Kansas and retires or whatever. But like, having somebody that I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but sitting somebody, I know you make a huge investment and you want to get better as fast as you can, but man, bringing in a veteran, I mean, Jordan Love Aaron and I know each other really well, and I've watched a hell of a lot of Packers games. And by the end of the season, Green 18, his tone, his rhythm, the way he does fakes, it's very Rodgers-esque. Like if you watch him now, how did that throw off the back? Yeah. How did that happen? He watched him. He sat there and watched him for 2 or 3 years. Anyway,
I love the passion. I love the tangents. Yeah. There's definitely truth to that. I feel like it's so circumstantial because a lot of it just depends on the organization. Is the head coach going to actually get an opportunity? Totally. Are they just going to cover their ass by throwing them out there and be like, see, it's not us, it's you guys drafting this? Like, there's so much political bullshit that it's circumstantial, but I do agree that it's only going to benefit the player.
Yeah, and obviously it is player dependent, but you're not going to have a tremendous amount of success if you don't have an offensive line to protect your largest asset and potentially best player.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
They're not going to be good.
Right.
Yeah, but it's so tough with the NFL because there's zero patience in the NFL. If you look like the Panthers franchise, they're turning over coaches like it's nothing because everybody's so impatient and wants to compete. And if you have like your largest asset, you draft a quarterback in the first round, that's a lot of money and that's a lot of impatient fans that have more access to you through social media, and you hear the noise so much more to where even though you're this top exec or you're this owner and you should have the mental fortitude to withstand that, it's so difficult to go and be like, we're going to sit this guy for a year and let him learn and develop, as opposed to like just throwing him in there.
I hear you.
Fuel by fire.
And look, it's if you are the Packers, you have somebody good who's playing already, and you're playing at a high level. So I get that that's a difference.
Were you bummed when your boy left Green Bay? Based on I'm assuming the golfing conversations.
Look, I think that he was ready to go. And I think it was best for him, which makes it not it's like sad, I guess, but sad in like a nostalgic way, like that Derek Jeter play, all these years for one franchise type thing. But I think the reality was he needed to go somewhere else, and he's been incredibly happy in New York. And I mean, let's face it, they probably, not probably would have been playing here, but they certainly would have had a chance to be playing here today. And he got hurt, but it sounds like he's energized and ready to come back next year.
Yeah.
The Aaron Rodgers obviously has been the guy that has been in the headlines about the COVID stuff and ayahuasca. Have you ever wanted to take ayahuasca with him?
I have not taken ayahuasca with him.
Would you ever want to?
I've not taken ayahuasca with him.
Okay. I have not taken ayahuasca.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I have not taken ayahuasca with him.
You have not taken it.
I have not.
If the option came to you to go on a journey,
I have not taken ayahuasca with him.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's a fair question. That was a loaded question. I would take ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
that was.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, that was. Come here. Delete that photo.
Delete those.
Yeah. Because the way he answered the Aaron Rodgers question, you're like, oh, he's had that conversation with Aaron. He's trying to do good by his boy right now. I think he was ready.
These motherfuckers ain't getting me.
Yeah. Is that a surreal feeling when you're able to meet these guys you're fans of? Do you, like, as a celebrity yourself, do you get that feeling like, oh my God, that's so and so?
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. Like yeah. I mean, and it's sort of like because The Office is stayed so popular and people are still watching it. It's even just some of the young guys who are starting out in the league now who are watched it or currently watching it or whatever. It's really fucking. I mean, like Aaron or Josh Allen or Mahomes, Kelsey, those guys are all playing in tournaments with me over the year, and we're joking around and chatting, and of course that's cool for me.